Hello and welcome back to my vlog. Part 22 of Flatland. Section 14, How I Vainly Tried to Explain the Nature of Flatland. Part 2. Truly, replied I, your sense of hearing serves you in good stead and fills up many of your deficiencies. But permit me to point out that your life in Lineland must be deplorably dull. To see nothing but a point, not even to be able to contemplate a straight line, nay, not even to know what a straight line is. To see, yet be cut off from those linear prospects which are vouchsafed to us in Flatland. Better surely to have no sense of sight at all than to see so little. I grant you I have not your discriminative faculty of hearing, for the concert of all Lineland, which gives you such intense pleasure, is to me no better than a multitudinous twittering or chirping. But at least I can discern by sight a line from a point, and let me prove it. Just before I came into your kingdom, I saw you dancing from left to right, and then from right to left, with 7 men and a woman in your immediate proximity on the left, and 8 men and 2 women on your right. Is not this correct? It is correct, said the king, so far as the numbers and sexes are concerned, though I know not what you mean by right and left. But I deny that you saw these things. For how could you see the line, that is to say the inside, of any man? But you must have heard these things, and then dreamed that you saw them. And let me ask what you mean by those words left and right. I suppose it is your way of saying northward and southward. Not so, replied I. Besides your motion of northward and southward, there is another motion, which I call from right to left. King, exhibit to me, if you please, this motion from left to right. I. Nay, that I cannot do unless you could step out of your line altogether. King, out of my line? Do you mean out of the world? Out of space? I. Well, yes, out of your world, out of your space. For your space is not the true space. True space is a plane, but your space is only a line. King, if you cannot indicate this motion from left to right by yourself moving in it, then I beg you to describe it to me in words. I. If you cannot tell your right side from your left, I fear that no words of mine can make my meaning clear to you. But surely you cannot be ignorant of so simple a distinction. King. I do not in the least understand you. I. Alas, how shall I make it clear? When you move straight on, does it not sometimes occur to you that you could move in some other way, turning your eye round so as to look in the direction towards which your side is now fronting? In other words, instead of always moving in the direction of one of your extremities, do you never feel a desire to move in the direction, so to speak, of your side? King. Never. And what do you mean? How can a man's inside front in any direction? Or how can a man move in the direction of his inside? I. Well then, since words cannot explain this matter, I will try deeds, and will move gradually out of Lineland in the direction which I desire to indicate to you. At the word, I began to move my body out of Lineland. As long as any part of me remained in his dominion and in his view, the king kept exclaiming, I see you still. You are not moving. But when I had at last moved myself out of his line, he cried in his shrillest voice, She is vanished! She is dead! I am not dead, replied I. I am simply out of Lineland, that is to say, out of the straight line which you call space, and in the true space where I can see things as they are. And at this moment I can see your line, or side, or inside as you are pleased to call it. And I can see also the men and women on the north and south of you, whom I will now enumerate, describing their order, their size, and their interval between each. And there will be an image of this below. When I had done this at great length, I cried triumphantly, Does that at last convince you? And with that I once more entered Lineland, taking up the same position as before. But the monarch replied, If you were a man of sense, though as you appear to have only one voice, I have little doubt you are not a man, but a woman. But if you had a particle of sense, you would listen to reason. You ask me to believe that there is another line besides that which my senses indicate, and another motion besides that of which I am daily conscious. I, in return, ask you to describe in words or indicate by motion that other line of which you speak. Instead of moving, you merely exercise some magic art of vanishing and returning to sight. And instead of any lucid description of your new world, you simply tell me the numbers and sizes of some 40 of my retinue, facts known to any child in my capital. Can anything be more irrational or audacious? Acknowledge your folly or depart from my dominions. Furious at his perversity, and especially indignant that he professed to be ignorant of my sex, I retorted in no measured terms. Besotted being! You think yourself the perfection of existence, while you are in reality the most imperfect and imbecile. You profess to see, whereas you can see nothing but a point. You plume yourself on inferring the existence of a straight line, but I can see straight lines and infer the existence of angles, triangles, squares, pentagons, hexagons, and even circles. Why waste more words? Suffice it that I am the completion of your incomplete self. You are a line, but I am a line of lines, called in my country a square, and even I, infinitely superior though I am to you, am of little account among the great nobles of Flatland, whence I have come to visit you in the hope of enlightening your ignorance. Hearing these words, the king advanced towards me with a menacing cry as if to pierce me through the diagonal, and in that same moment there arose from myriads of his subjects a multitudinous war cry, increasing in vehemence till at last methought it rivaled the roar of an army of 100,000 isosceles, and the artillery of 1,000 pentagons. Spellbound and motionless, I could neither speak nor move to avert the impending destruction, and still the noise grew louder, and the king came closer, when I awoke to find the breakfast bell recalling me to the realities of Flatland. And that's the end of his little dream there, and his vainly trying to explain the nature of Flatland. I'm wondering if we get to Spaceland tomorrow. We'll see. Make it a great day, and bye for now.